Hey everyone, today we are continuing reading the Gospel of John together. We're going to be in John chapter 4 today, part 1. And as we begin the chapter, John lets us know of some conflict that is beginning to grow between the religious leaders and Jesus. And particularly the religious leaders, the Pharisees, they are not happy about the popularity that Jesus is gaining, and they're also not happy about the fact that Jesus is baptizing more people than John. And so we pick up in verse 3, and John says, "So he, Jesus, left Judea and returned to Galilee. He had to go through Samaria on the way." Now, as you can see from this map that is going to pop up here, people typically took the long way to get from Judea to Galilee in order to completely avoid Samaria at all costs. Now, in order to grasp the meaning of what we're going to read today, I think it's really important to note why the Jews avoided Samaria. The Samaritans were a racially mixed group of partly Jewish and partly Gentile people. Both Jews and non-Jews really did not like the Samaritans. In fact, the Jews even disliked them more than they disliked the Gentiles. And so they were considered half-breeds. They worshipped Yahweh, but they also had some other beliefs that they mixed in there with it. And so they were thought to be constantly in a state of uncleanliness by the Jews. And so that is why the Jews tried to avoid Samaria at all possible costs when traveling. But as we read, John tells us that Jesus had to go through Samaria. Now, this wasn't out of necessity for traveling. This was purely because Jesus knew that there were some people that needed to hear about him and come to know him in Samaria. So Jesus eventually gets to a place called Sychar in Samaria, and he stops at a well to rest at noon. Now, that's an important thing to note, that it was at in the middle of the day, because starting at verse 7, we read this. "Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, 'Please give me a drink.' He was alone at the time because his disciples had gone into the village to buy some food." So some more background information. Women were normally the ones who went to draw water from the well, but they normally did it in the morning and in the evening to avoid the heat of the day. So as I said earlier, it's really important to note the time that Jesus was there, because this woman was coming to the well at around noon during the heat of the day. And so this would have signified that she was probably an immoral woman. She was trying to stay away from other people, she would have felt shame for the life that she was living in, and so she tried to stay away from other people. And so not only was she a Samaritan, she was a woman, but she was also probably caught in a pattern of sin. And yet Jesus talks to her. Jesus asks her for a drink of water. This would have been unheard of for a Jewish man to do during this time. So we're going to read on, starting in verse 9, and settle in here. We're going to read 6 verses together, starting in verse 9. It says, "The woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. She said to Jesus, 'You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?' Jesus replied, 'If you only knew the gift God has for you and who you are speaking to, you would ask me, and I would give you living water.' 'But sir, you don't have a rope or a bucket,' she said, 'and this well is very deep. Where would you get this living water? And besides, do you think you're greater than our ancestor Jacob, who gave us this well? How can you offer better water than he and his sons and his animals enjoyed?' Jesus replied, 'Anyone who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again. But those who drink the water I give will never be thirsty again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life.' 'Please, sir,' the woman said, 'give me this water. Then I'll never be thirsty again, and I won't have to come here to get water.'" Jesus asks her for something to drink and continues to tell her about this living water that he alone can give her. The Samaritan woman is quick to question Jesus on this living water, though, but Jesus responds by explaining that this water will make her never thirst again. And even though the Samaritan woman does not fully comprehend what Jesus is talking about, she shares her true desire to never thirst again. The interaction between Jesus and the woman continues, and without even telling him, Jesus recounts to the woman the life of sin that she has been living. He says that you have had 5 husbands, and the man that you're living with now isn't even your husband. He lays out the messiest parts of her life, the parts that she tries to hide, and the parts that she feels so much shame for. And then he goes on to tell her that he is the Messiah, the one who has come to save. Out of pure excitement, she leaves her jar at the well and runs to the village to tell everyone about this man that she's just met, the man who is telling her everything that she has ever done. Now, I want to pay close attention to this woman's reaction because I think it speaks volumes to who Jesus is. Even though the most broken parts of her life were just exposed, the darkest and ugliest parts of her life were exposed by Jesus. She didn't feel ashamed. She didn't feel rejected. She didn't feel like she needed to hide. And what did she do instead? She went and proclaimed who this man was to the entire village. The interaction illustrates that Jesus came for everyone. Jesus came for everyone, no matter your past. No matter the parts of your life that you think are too broken to be healed, to be redeemed, Jesus says, no, I have come for you. I have come so that you can have everlasting life. So you don't need to feel shame. You can run to Jesus and experience the redemption that by his blood and death and resurrection on the cross you have freedom from. Jesus came for you, and he came for me today. No matter the mess that we leave in our past, he has come for you. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.